Hello, and welcome back to the Let's Create Roblox series. This is day 5, and today we are going to work on the moving platforms. So last time we got these kill parts all hooked up with scripts, and we are now going to work on these platforms and make them move back and forth. So we can do so with some scripts and some physics parts, which we'll get into in a moment. But the first thing we want to do is let's open up in our Explorer, let's open up the area that's got those moving platform models. And in here, we want to make sure our left side and right side, the can collide is false. And so we can check that by selecting one of them, go into the properties window and scroll down until we see these checkboxes. And here we can see that can collide is checked, and we want to make sure it's not checked. And we want to do that for all of them. For what we're doing now, and since we are um, going to make changes and apply it to all of them, let's pick one model. I'm going to use the model closest to the platform. Let's use one model, make all of our changes, then we'll delete those other two, and we will duplicate this out again with those changes applied. So I'll expand this model of the moving platform that's closest to our original platform, and I'll select the left side and the right side. You can do that by selecting left side, hold Control on the keyboard or Command on a Mac, and click right side. And that should let you select both. Then we can scroll down in Properties window and uncheck Can Collide. Okay, with Can Collide unchecked, now this platform will be free to move in between, and they won't have any conflicts since they're not both hard objects. And so our moving platform, we need to add some children to it. So we can do that by selecting it. Then the plus sign shows up, and we can select the plus sign. When you select the plus, or when you click the plus sign, you should see this window pop up. I don't think you can see mine. It's a list of things we can add, and at the top it says Search Object. We can type in here body, and we should see a bunch of options: body gyro, body position, body angular velocity. And what we want is body position, and then we'll add another one. So type body again, and we want body gyro. So we want to see both of these. So body position, we need to go into the properties and change some values. So if we select body position and look in properties, in this properties window, we'll see goals. And in goals, we have D, which is like dampen. We have the max force, and if we expand that, we'll see there's an X, Y, and Z. Then we have a P, which is power. We want to increase dampen. Let's just increase it to something like 5,000. And we want to increase all of our max forces. So instead of replacing that 4,000, we can just add 2 zeros to make it 400,000. And we'll do that to all three. Okay, and then on body gyro, we want to do something very similar. We just X and Z are already 400,000. We just need to make Y the same. So replace that 0 with 400,000, and you can press enter. Okay, great. So now we are ready to start scripting. So we can go into our server script service, and we have this folder already, behaviors, where our kill part behavior is. And we're going to add another script, and we're going to rename this script moving platform behavior. Okay, and so with moving platform behavior, it's going to look pretty similar to this kill part behavior. We do need to iterate through the workspace to get all of the children named some certain name, which in my case, for what I have in my project, it's moving platform. We need to iterate through it, but we're not going to connect to the touched event. We're going to create another function that will move the platforms back and forth. So first thing we can do is press enter a couple times to drop down a few lines, and we can make a comment. And in this comment, let me make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. In this comment, we can just say iterate through workspace children. So first we need to get the workspace children. So we can say local children equals workspace colon get descendants. And so what that's going to do is give us everything inside workspace. And then we want to go through all of descendants. So for, and then we can just use any letter we want for the index, comma, and then give any item a name. So in this case, I'm going to say for I, comma, child, and that's in children, nope, in I pairs, children do. And what this will do is let us iterate through those children and check the child name and make sure it aligns with what we want. So we don't want to get the actual moving platform yet. We want to get the model, the parent to the left side, right side, and the moving platform. So we're going to check, so if child.name is equal to, and so mine is called moving platform model. Use whatever you called yours. Um, moving platform model. Then, and so this says if the name is moving platform model, then we want to do something. So we'll leave this blank for now and put a placeholder comment that says call moving platform function, I guess. And that's our little placeholder. So a good thing to do is add the word to do, TODO, and this kind of lets you know that you have something to do. It's kind of like a task that's left in your code. And then we'll go to the top and we will create our function. So we can do that using the word function. And then we can name our function. So I'm going to name mine move platform. And then inside here, I'm going to name the variable we pass in, the parameter. I'm going to name it model. And then I'll press enter, and that should drop a line, add the end word. And if you're not caught up to this, go ahead and give this video a pause, get caught up, and then we'll move on and go through the method. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is capture some variables. And these variables are going to be the children in the model. So capture children in model. And so we can do that. We can say local left side equals model wait for child. And we need to in these single quotes, we need to give it the exact name we have in our Explorer. And so mine is left side with a capital L and a capital S, and it's all one word, so left side. I'm going to do the same for right side. So local right side equals model colon wait for child. And in here, we'll type right side. And then finally, we need the moving platform itself. And so that's simple enough. It'll be exactly like the first two. So moving platform equals model wait for child again. And use the name that we see in Explorer, so moving platform. Now that we have these three, if you don't, you can pause again to get caught up. Now that we have these three, we need to get access to this body position because this is what's going to move our platform back and forth. And so to do that, it's a child of moving platform. So we can say local body position equals moving platform, wait for child, and it's body position. And that is just the object that we added to the moving platform. Okay. And so now that we have that, we have pretty much all the variables we need. And now what we can do is spawn a function that will run on a different thread. And that might sound very confusing, but think of it like a highway with a bunch of traffic. Each lane has a lot of cars on it going in one direction, and some lanes might stop, but other lanes might still be going. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to let this keep going even if something else stops later. And so that's what this keyword spawn will do for us. So we'll type spawn, and we'll open parentheses. And then in the parentheses, we'll type the word function again. And this is called an anonymous function because we're not giving it a name like move platform. And in here, so we'll just open and close the parentheses and press enter, and that should give us this end keyword. And it's really important that we have this closing parenthesis on the other side of end. So that one, if we highlight it, you'll see that it also highlights the opening parenthesis next to spawn, because that's the closing parenthesis for spawn, whereas these two parentheses apply to function. And so inside here, we need to do something now. So what we'll do in here is set the body position, its goal, to the left side. We'll wait some amount of time. We'll set it to the right side. We'll wait, and then we need to keep that running. So let's start with some comments. So the first thing we said is we're going to set the body position goal to the left side location. Let's say position. Then we'll wait some amount of seconds. We're not going to type how many there. Then our next thing we want to do is set the body position goal to the right side position. And then we want to wait again. And so I'll press enter a couple times to give us some space, and then we can start doing this. So the first thing we want to do, set the body position goal to the left side position. So we have the variables that we need. So we can do that. So we can say body position dot position with a capital P, and let me show you what that means. So if we have body position from Explorer selected and we look in the properties at the very bottom, we see that there's this position, and this property is an XYZ, and that's a location in our world. And what we're going to do is set that to the position of the left side. So we can do that by saying body position dot position, which is referring to this thing in properties, equals left side, which is a variable we already have, dot position. And then we can do the same thing for the right side. So under the comment that says set it to the right side, we'll say body position dot position equals right side dot position. So this will set the body position to the left and to the right, but we want to wait. We want to give it time to get there. So we'll use this special function called wait, and we'll just give it some amount of time. And so that amount of time, just for now, we'll say 6 seconds. And we want to do the same thing under the bottom wait. And so when you're done, you should have something that looks like this. So if you don't, go ahead and pause. You can get caught up, and then we'll move on. Okay, so if you have this, and if we run it, we would see that actually we wouldn't see because we're not actually calling this function yet, but here's what we expect to happen. The body position of the moving platform will go to the left side. It'll wait. It'll take about 6 seconds before it sets the body position to the right side. It'll wait another 6 seconds, and that's it. It'll move once, it'll wait, it'll move again, and it'll wait, and then nothing will happen. So what we need to do is put this in something called a loop that will keep running, and it'll keep moving it back and forth. And so one of the simple things we can do is type below spawn, but above our first comment, is while true do, and press enter. And that's going to make an infinite loop that will just keep running as long as our game is alive. So we'll get rid of this end word because we're going to move it. So we're going to delete it from here, and we're going to put it below our last wait. We'll type end. And then I deleted the extra space, and then just watch what I do because this is for formatting. I'm going to highlight right under while true do. I'm going to start with my comment. I'm going to highlight everything down to the last wait, but I'm not going to highlight this end word. Then I'll press tab. And what that'll do is push everything over, and it'll format it inside of our while true do. And so now we have everything we need to get this thing moving. And so what we can do from here is make a call to that function we created. So we can say move platform, and then we can pass in child, because child is that moving platform model. So that'll come in here. It'll be stored as model, and it'll work through. It'll grab left side, right side moving platform. It'll grab that body position, and it'll start setting its properties. So that's perfect. Now, if we run this right now, we'll get some kind of issue, because it'll find this one, which is one we didn't put the body position on. It'll find it, and it will not be able to actually find the body position because we didn't add it to those. So we have two options. We can duplicate these, body gyro and body position, and put them in each one, or we can uh, delete the two that don't have it, and we can duplicate our entire model that seems to be good. And that's the route I'm going to take. So I'm going to delete the other two, and then with this one that is good, with it selected, we could press duplicate and create them again. But first, it's a good idea to test. And before we test, we want to make sure moving platform, the actual platform that should be moving, is not anchored. So we can do that by scrolling down and in the properties and just unchecking anchored. And this way we can make sure that that platform can move back and forth. So now I'm going to press play, and I'm going to see if my platform moves. So when I look up, I see that it's moving very, 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 very slowly. So I think the dampening is probably too much, and so we can actually click in our workspace, and inside area 2, moving platform, we can expand this out while the game is running, and we can change these values. So I'm going to change my dampening down to like 2000, and see, now it's moving much faster. So maybe we don't want it to move that fast, actually. So maybe we will instead set it to 2500, and that'll slow it down just a little. And we want to make sure our body gyro is good, so let's make sure its power is like 10,000. And that'll make sure that it will always try to stay not rotating, because the body gyro will either rotate or prevent rotation. And we don't want our platform spinning all over the place, so we'll keep that with a high power. And so I'm going to just jump on this platform and make sure it lets me. Oh, kill part. All right, we'll respawn and we'll try that again. All right, jumped over that. It's pretty simple obby. You guys might consider making platforms maybe smaller or farther apart. But yeah, so we can jump on this and it doesn't seem to fall down. Oh, but if you jump and it's moving, it will. Anyway, so that'll do it. Let's make sure we stop the game and save. That's very important. And now we have this moving platform. If you don't, you can rewind, try to get caught up and see what we did differently. But other than that, if you do have it and it's working and it's going back and forth, one thing we'll have to look at after we stop, we'll see that those values that we entered actually reset. So we need to make sure, now that we know what our values are, make sure we apply them when the game's not running. So we can go into the body position and we could change that 5000 to 2500. And we can go to body gyro and change the P value, the power value, from 3000 to, maybe it doesn't have to be 10,000. We can just do 5,000. And now that that's done, we can duplicate this moving platform model twice, and we can move them out. Actually, I'll move them out in order. Okay, And there we go. So now we should have 3 moving platforms. I'll press play one more time. And I'm not going to run through the obby. I'm just going to run and look and make sure all of our platforms are moving. And they are. So they're moving kind of together, which would be pretty simple for the user. So we can address that later. But for now, we have 3 moving platforms, and that will do it for today. So let's make sure we save again. We'll press stop. We'll click Control S, which will save. And that's it. So if you have the moving platforms, you're good. If something's wrong, go ahead and rewind the video and try to see if anything's different between my project and yours. If you still have questions, feel free to leave a comment and I will address it as I can. But other than that, thank you for joining day 5. I hope you enjoyed. Take care. We'll see you next time.